Hey, what's up, YouTube? Well, I'm finding an opportunity to make a video, and what do you know? Um, I had to take care of some things earlier today, and I didn't think I'd be able to make a video, but I am able to make a video now, and I would like to kind of switch gears and talk about something slightly different, although I'm sure you can imagine I'll just end up talking about my usual crap again, just like always. I feel like a broken record. I can't talk about anything that doesn't find its way back to those same awful subjects. But what I'd like to talk about today is something I've mentioned before, but never actually made a full video about it. And it's how I really wish I had a brother instead of my little sister, okay? And I would never say that to her face, okay? That's why I'm making a video as opposed to, talking to someone about this. But for many years, I have felt that our lives would be better if one or both of us were male and or we had a brother. That's kind of iffy. Like, let's say, my mom often says she wishes she would have had more kids. We should have kept trying for a boy, she says. But of course, the thing about that is you could have any number of children that are all one or the other, which is among the many reasons why I'm so glad I never had any children. Because I would just hate to be disappointed with a child, right up from before it's even born because of what gender it is. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty sad. To come into this world as a disappointment to your parents based solely on something that you couldn't control. So yeah, it's like, I just, um, you know, even more than wishing that I were male, I often wish that I had a brother instead of my sister. And the reason I've been thinking about that, or, I talked to my mom on the phone last night, and that really made me realize that I felt that way. Not that I didn't already know that. But when I think about what all is going down between her and my mom, and I think about how much better our lives would be, or might be, let me say, if instead of that bratty sister of mine, she would have had a son in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? And that's actually what they were hoping for. Before, like right up until the very end, even though the ultrasound said she'd be a girl, they still had hopes that they were wrong. And every time we hear that name that my mom would have given to a boy, my mom yearns to have a son. And I always felt bad for my father because he was the father without a son. And, I just think about, yes, boys are a lot harder to raise in childhood for the simple reason that they are immature, and as a result, they stay in a childlike, babyfied state for longer than a girl would. But at the same time, because they are immature, and because, they stay, like, for example, it's very hard to be the parent of a 2-year-old boy. You know why? Because he's more like a 1-year-old girl. So it's like you have a baby for a longer period of time with a boy, slightly longer than with a girl. But on the flip side, when you get to the teen years and you have a 12-year-old boy that's more like a 10-year-old as opposed to a 15-year-old, then it's the other way around. Then the girl's parents find that having a daughter is much harder when you get to the teen years, because the boys are still kind of in a middle childhood stage where they laugh at farts and just act silly all the time. They still watch cartoons, they still are just immature, like in elementary school. But then the girls are already being hit on, so to speak, by older guys, and they're already noticing, that they can use such things to their advantage to manipulate people in a way. And, it really makes me mad because I feel like my sister, like, I don't even know how to explain her. I don't even know where to begin with her because, I would never say that to her face because I don't want to make her cry and all that. I mean, I still want, it's just the hardest thing in the world because I'd like to have a good relationship with my mother, my father, and my sister, but all three of those things conflict, okay? Those three people could never be in the same room together. And my parents are not amicable whatsoever with the divorce. Never have been. So, it's just so hard to understand my sister. And I brought some Easter eggs for show and tell because I've been thinking of making a video like this, but, just didn't really feel like getting the eggs together and making it until now. And by the way, I wish they would fix Easter. Like, I'm so sick of having Easters that can be anywhere from the 20s of March through the 20s of April because I feel like that's too broad of a range. I wish they would fix it to where it's always the second Sunday in April, meaning 8 to 14. That would be just so much easier on everyone and better to prepare. You'd have a month until Mother's Day, but then, you'd be out of March, so you wouldn't have years where it's actually colder on Easter than it was on Christmas, which words cannot convey how frustrating that is. When you have a Christmas that's like in the mid 70s or even the 80s and cloudy all day, and then Easter can be in late March, and you'll have a cool front that actually brings you down into the 50s or even the 40s. And that is somewhat based on a true story in 2015 and 16. But anyway, I don't like having an early Easter because it's so hard to prepare for. But then a late Easter is too close to Mother's Day and whatnot. So yeah, I brought along these eggs. You see, a lot of people, when they look at me and my sister, and although I'm wearing a more feminine blouse, more feminine clothing today, they often look at my sister and she seems to be so feminine and, so pretty. And then they look at me and I'm so not. I'm the girl that wants to be a guy, the brister, so to speak. And I really started wanting to be a boy around the age of 10 when my sister was a baby, okay? Because it always bothered me that we were two girls and always would be. So I tried to, I wanted to cut my hair and try to be the brother that we never had, so to speak, and never would have because my mom was finished having kids, okay? So basically people think this is my sister and this is me, okay? But that is actually not the true story of our lives. The true story is more like this, okay? She is masculine in the ways that I am feminine, and feminine in the ways that I am masculine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might be predominantly masculine in that I like to cut my hair short, but then in some ways I'm actually more feminine than she is, because I have a nice handwriting, which I'll have to kind of share that. It's hard because, it takes a while, but I can make my handwriting very pretty. I have an artistic flair. I love to sew, and I just do things. I just have interests that are feminine, okay? And so in many of the ways that I am feminine, she's masculine and vice versa. So it's very hard to explain. It would be oversimplified for me to inject testosterone and become that brother that our family never had, and for her to still be seen as this girly girl, because that would not be the whole story. And that's why there's a lot of resentment between us, because it's like, as much as I have always wanted to be a guy, and I think it'd be awesome for us to finally, be a brother and sister rather than two sisters, it just wouldn't be the whole story, and it would be unfair because it's like, why should my body and my beauty and my health be destroyed, and my hairline, more importantly, why should I be destroyed in order to create that dream, and she still gets to be, the girly girl, so to speak, that every guy thinks is so attractive. And, when I happen to know she's the girl that pooped in her panties, like I wish I had $1 for every time that she pooped in her panties. And it just doesn't get any less feminine or, beautiful than that. You know what I'm saying? The saying isn't boys don't poop, it's girls don't poop. Okay? So, yeah, it's like, you know, people think that she's so girly and the guys are attracted to her and everything. But the reality is that, you know, I have some qualities about me that I think are a lot more desirable yet. I've never had a boyfriend and really would not like to change that. You know, and I just don't quite understand. You know, I'm the one that doesn't fart. I'm the one that would never drive a truck, you know, on a daily basis because I hate them. I feel like they bounce you around. I'm the one that's clean, you know, to the point of OCD. You know, like every one of these eggs had to be washed by me, because I felt like, well, we went on this egg hunt, my dad and I, and, you know, it's sort of an adult egg hunt, so to speak. And so they were in the ground and they had some ants trying to get in the candy, so I had to wash every single egg and dry it out, because that's how clean conscious I am. You know, everything has to be clean, and then it's, you know, it's never good enough with me. Nothing is ever clean enough. I always worry about germs and filth and all that. So, you know, I'm the one that's clean conscious. I'm the one with a nice handwriting. I'm the one that likes to, you know, do certain things that are considered feminine. But then my sister, you know, because she grows her hair, you know, way long, it's like every guy, you know, wants a piece of her, basically. She's had more boyfriends than I can name. Whereas people want absolutely nothing to do with me, and really and truly, I like it that way. Like, I don't like guys. I'm not attracted to them whatsoever, okay? And that's where this idea that I should be a guy actually comes from, the fact that I don't like guys. So yeah, it's like, I've never had a boyfriend, but yet I have certain feminine attributes. You know, like I say, I'm the one that never farts. Yet, for some reason, I'm the one that doesn't have a boyfriend and never has, and hopefully never will. So yeah, it's just the hardest thing to explain. I wish I had a brother instead of her. And the reason I feel that way is because I just feel so bad for my mom, you know, because it's like, I don't know, she, you know, my mom is all by herself, and really and truly, I wish I could, like, if it were up to me, I would go all by myself to her house, and I would spend the rest of the spring and pretty much all the summer at her house with her, and I would help her cut the grass just like I do every summer. And I just feel so terrible for her because she's all by herself with a cat, and she has no one. Like, she's got that house by herself, and there's no one, you know, that she can really count on that will help her, you know, and she has a hard time affording the most basic things. And it's like I go over there and I have to kind of do things that no one else can or will do for her when I go over there. And it's like I feel terrible about that because it's like, you know, my sister lives a lot closer to her, yet, like I've stated before, she has gone 5 years without even being in the same room with my mom. She wants nothing to do with my mom. She doesn't want her at her graduation, and she's claiming to be a child abuse survivor. You know, she tells every boy that she meets the sob story of, my mother abused me. And it's like, oh my gosh. You know, like I've stated before, my mother was not an abuser. I mean, yes, she was our parent as opposed to our best friend. Yes, she was very strict, but she was not an abuser. And I do not claim to be a child abuse survivor, even though she treated me way worse, way, 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 way worse, you know, than she ever thought of treating my sister. For the simple reason that I'm the one who isn't normal. You know, I am the one that didn't conform to what a girl is supposed to be. So yeah, it just makes me really mad, you know, that she claims to be abused, and, you know, she doesn't want to go see my mom. And it's like I feel like she has muscles for nothing. That's another thing that's masculine about her and feminine about me. You know, I don't lift weights. I don't, you know, go to the gym and try to bulk up, and because I don't give a crap. I literally don't give a crap about my physique. If I'm fat, I'm fat. Oh well. But she's obsessed with working out at the gym and trying to build muscle, which is totally unfeminine, unladylike. You know, I don't care what they say. Lifting weights is not something that girls and women should be doing. And My mom doesn't believe that they should do that. And it just makes me so mad because she has, you know, she's so physically fit and she has these boyfriends and all that, but yet it's like she has muscles for nothing, you know. I mean, I would be a lot more impressed with someone who uses their muscles to help somebody, you know what I'm saying? To help people lift on their furniture and cut the grass and such. I'm impressed by what muscles do, not how they look. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that's flabby and fat, yet I'm the one that cares to help her cut her grass every summer. And that is quite a job. Like, I literally get 12 to 14,000 steps on my Fitbit, but I love it. I love the cardio, I love the exercise. And I would go back and live with her in a heartbeat. You know, even though I wouldn't have TV because she can't afford TV. I could forget about the Rugrats reboot, but that'd be all right. You know, she can't afford a lot of things, and I wouldn't be able to make YouTube videos and, you know, buy the things I want to buy, and maybe even wouldn't have health care, but that's all right. I'd find a way. But yet my sister could help her out, and she could even bring her boyfriends, and, you know, she could go to my mom's house, you know, with her truck and a boyfriend in it, and between my mom, her boyfriend, and possibly even me. I mean, can you imagine how quickly we could get that yard done? Between, say, 4 of us instead of just my mom or just mom and I. I mean, can you even imagine? You know, just how much easier it would be if my mom had the help of a grown daughter or 2 grown daughters, you know, one of them that goes to the gym all the time, meaning my sister, you know, because I feel like it's worthless. You know, if you go to the gym and you have all these nice muscles, but you don't do anything with it, like you don't help people and you don't lift on things and actually put those muscles to use, you know, I would be much more impressed with a guy that works for a moving company and doesn't look that great than with a guy that's got a perfect physique and doesn't help anybody but himself. You know what I'm saying? I'm impressed by the doing, not the way somebody looks. But yeah, that's the way I feel about it. You know, my sister, within the past 5 years, she has wanted nothing to do with my mom, and she's basically claiming that my mom abused her and that that's her justification for having nothing to do with my mom. But yet I'm the one that is not well toned, you know, I'm fat, yet I would go back and live with her in a heartbeat and push that mower and try to, you know, help her out. Because it's like, I mean, yes, she could pay someone like every other lady her age practically, but that's a lot of groceries you could buy with that money, you know? I mean, think about it, $50 a week, let's just say times 50 weeks in a year. What is that, $2,500 a year? Wow. Because when you pay somebody, they're going to want to come all throughout the winter just to keep getting that money. And we don't need them to do that. And my dad, you know, that's why it makes me so mad. You know, he lives in this stupid apartment where we have a yard crew for obvious reasons. We don't own this place. So he gets to get out of cutting his grass. And I get to live with him, so I don't worry about it when I'm here. And my sister, like, I don't know how she gets her grass done, but she has a little bitty yard. And so my mom is basically on her own, dealing with the grass. And I just think our lives would be so much better if instead of that little sister of mine, we had a brother.